All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're unpacking one of the biggest stories of our lifetime, the huge economic earthquake that is generative AI. We're going to dig into a really deep analysis from McKinsey to get our heads around what is actually happening.
So, I'm guessing most of you have played around with something like ChatGPT, right? Or at least seen those wild AI-generated images online. But here's the crazy part. That cool little tool you're using, it's just the tip of a massive iceberg, one that's set to be worth trillions with a T to the world economy. And that's what we're exploring today.
Okay, so to really get this economic shift, we have to understand what makes right now so different. I mean, AI isn't new. It's been quietly working in the background for years, but something has just completely changed the game.
For the longest time, AI was this invisible helper, It was powering your smartphone, suggesting what you should buy next on Amazon. The progress was so slow and steady, McKinsey even calls it imperceptible. But now, whoa, we have conversational AI, tools that anyone, and I really mean anyone, can just talk to and create with. The progress is suddenly tangible, it's explosive, and it has absolutely grabbed the world's attention. And just look at the speed of what's happening. It's wild. ChatGPT drops in November 2022. A few months go by and boom, we get the way more powerful GPT-4. Then, by May, another model, Claude, can read and process an entire novel in less than a minute. We're not talking about slow, steady progress anymore. These are incredible leaps forward in just a matter of months.
So what's the engine driving all this? The term you gotta know is generative AI. And it's all built on top of what are called foundation models. Just think of these as these enormous, super flexible brains, neural networks that have swallowed huge amounts of data, text, images, code, you name it. And they've learned not just to sort it, but to create totally new stuff. That right there is what makes this a genuine step change evolution from all the AI that came before.
Okay, so we get it. It's new, it's powerful, it's fast. But let's get to the big question, right? What is all that power actually worth? Let's talk about the money. So, according to this McKinsey analysis, generative AI could add up to $4.4 trillion in value to the global economy. And that's not a one-time thing. That's annually. Just let that number sink in for a second. To try and wrap your head around a number that big, it is more than the entire economic output of the United Kingdom for a whole year. This isn't just some niche tech trend. We are talking about a fundamental force that has the power to redraw the entire global economic map. But where on earth does all that value come from? Well, let's break that number down. That $4.4 trillion isn't just spread out evenly like peanut butter. The analysis shows that it's actually super concentrated in just a handful of key business areas. This chart pretty much says it all. About 75%, 3/4 of all that potential value is clustered in just 4 spots: customer operations, marketing and sales, software engineering, and R&D. These are the front lines. This is where the AI revolution is really happening. And here's what that looks like in the real world. For customer support, you've got AI handling conversations. In marketing, it's whipping up personalized ads and emails on a massive scale. For coders, it's drafting computer code from plain English. And in R&D, it's basically a super scientist, accelerating discovery by crunching data sets that are just too big for any human team to tackle. It's all about making human work faster and better. So, that leads us right to the next big question. If AI is changing the work, what does that mean for our jobs? And this might be the most profound piece of the entire story. Just look at this jump.
Before generative AI, analysis figured that technology could maybe automate about half of the things people get paid to do. But you add Gen AI into the mix, and that number leaps to between 60 and 70%. And why? It's mostly because this AI can understand and use language. The skill that's at the very heart of so many jobs.
Now, you really need to pay attention to this part, because it's probably the most important finding for anyone listening. See, past automation waves, they mostly hit routine stuff, like data entry, and they mainly affected mid-wage jobs. But generative AI is different. Its superpower is cognitive tasks, making decisions, communicating, collaborating, and that means its biggest impact is going to be on higher-wage, college-educated knowledge workers.
The exact jobs that we always thought were safe from automation, they're now front and center.
And to really hammer this home, the report makes this jaw-dropping prediction. The timeline has moved up. McKinsey now estimates that half of today's work activities could be automated a full decade earlier than they previously thought. The future isn't just different. It's coming way, way faster than any of us expected. So, wow. With this much potential and this much change happening this fast, where do we even go from here? The thing is, the future isn't some movie we're about to watch. It's being written right now. And there are some huge questions we all need to start asking.
And the report lays these challenges out really clearly. For companies, the question is, how do you grab all this value while managing the risks, like accuracy and bias? For society, it's how do we manage a massive retraining of our workforce? For governments, it's about putting up guardrails to stop this tech from being used for harm. And for every single one of us, it's figuring out how we get a say in how this thing shapes our lives.
And really, that's what it all boils down to. This new frontier, it's here. The economic and social shift has already started. So the question is no longer if generative AI will change our world. The only question left is, how will we, as businesses, as employees, as citizens, how will we choose to steer it? Now that is the real multi-trillion-dollar question. Thanks for joining this explainer.